going to start this topic on inflation, comparing the Trump administration and the Biden-Harris administration by looking at the producer price index and the consumer price index. The producer price index indicates what happens to prices from one period of time to another period of time to determine the percentage increase. And so in the Trump administration, from January 17th, when he took office, all the way through the pandemic of March and April of 2020, all the way until January of 2021, the prices over that period of time increased 8%. Once the Biden-Harris administration took over with increased government spending, with supply chain shortages and other challenges to the economy, the price of inputs into the production process started to rise quickly as there was both pent-up demand and supply chain shortages. And then the producer price index began to go down. That prices had increased, but they increased at a decreasing rate. But we're going to take a real close look at the consumer price index. For the Trump administration, the CPI stood at 244, I'm rounding up here, all the way until 2021 of January to 263. And when you figure out using the CPI, the inflation rate, this becomes an 8% increase over those 4 years. After the Biden-Harris administration took over, the consumer price index began to climb again because of those supply chain shortages, increased government spending, and it went from 262 all the way up to 314 in August of 2024. This increase is a 19.4% increase in prices over this less than 4-year period of time. How has this affected consumers then? Let's look at gas prices during the Trump administration and the Biden-Harris administration. Starting in January of 2017, with the Trump administration, gas prices were at $2.32. By January of 2021, gas prices were $2.39. In other words, gas had gone up. As the Biden-Harris administration takes over, they shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Immediately, gas prices go from $2.38 a gallon all the way up to $4.96 a gallon, or nearly $5. And now, currently, the gas prices as of August 26 is $3.31. As it stands now, this is nearly a $1 increase in the price of gasoline since the Biden-Harris administration has taken over. Let's look at the gas prices of San Francisco, Oakland, and Hayward compared to the gas prices in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach area. Notice that in blue, those are the California cities with their gas prices compared to the Florida gas prices. The California gas prices far outweigh those in Florida. The highest gas prices in California were hitting $6.50, while the gas prices in the Florida cities was $4.83. We're going to look at new vehicles in the United States shown in green, but I also put on this graph the consumer price index for used cars and trucks in the U.S. At the start of the Trump administration, the consumer price index for new cars in green was 148. By January 2021, the consumer price index for new vehicles only increased to 150, which meant that over that 4-year period of time, new automobiles price increases were only 1.3%. When the Biden-Harris administration took over, obviously the CPI was 150. Notice a couple things. Used car prices were rising much faster than new car prices. Used cars in the brown, new cars in the green, and it finally leveled off to August of 2024, where the CPI went up to 177, meaning that from January 2021 to January 2022, prices increased 12% in just that 1 year. Not only did gas prices increase, but also premiums for property and casualty insurance on private passenger automobiles also climbed during both administrations. Looking at the producer price index for premiums for property and casualty insurance, premiums for private auto passengers with the Trump administration started at 166 until January 2021, where it went from 166 to 180, which meant over those 4-year periods of time, insurance premiums for the insurance companies went up 8.4% during a 4-year period of time. When the Biden-Harris administration took over, the PPI, premiums for property and casualty insurance, went from 180 all the way up to 216, which means that these premiums increased 19.4% in nearly 4 years.